an insight into the most recent events, also referencing past events and how they have caused some sort of ripple effect, or how there's been a cascade into our current reality. This segment of the Morning Express is what we call Trends in the Papers, and just like the name depicts, what we're doing is basically looking at the stories that are trending across all of our dailies. We're bringing you the latest updates and also the key stories that continue to shape our nation. And let's take a closer look at pressing national issues. Let's talk about the discussions on security and governance, the anticipated economic reforms, all aimed at addressing inflation and unemployment. In politics, we would also be analyzing the latest development in National Assembly. The lawmakers will reconvene after the holiday break, of course, and there will be a lot of spotlight on the proposed bills, the tax reform bills, amongst other things, the budget as well, and how it impacts our daily lives as Nigerians. And there are many conversations to be had on the economic front, exploring the government's initiative and their attempt to stabilize the economy, their attempt to boost local businesses, including insight from financial experts on what citizens can expect this year. And this is me summarizing everything that you should expect as we begin to analyze the papers. Now, like I said, we're analyzing, which means we are going to employ the service of our in-house analyst, who now joins me via the phone. Fouad is on the phone. Together, we're going to look at the papers. I'll present the stories. He analyzes the stories, and ultimately, during Mainland Focus, we open the phone line so you can also give your own analysis and opine on these matters. We're on social media, so for those of you who cannot listen via your traditional radio, you can do so by following us on our social media platforms and joining the live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook and on YouTube as well. All you have to do is open these applications or these websites, whatever the case may be, and search Mainland 98.3 FM. Once you punch in the station's ID, it connects you right to our page, and then you can of course click the button that allows you to join the live stream, and you can also interact with us using the live chat option. Once again, this is the Morning Express. You're listening to Trends in the Papers. My name is Sage Babalola, and I'll introduce Fouad so we can start conversations. Fouad, good morning. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good morning, Sage. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Happy New Year once again. I think it's still okay to say Happy New Year.
It's still in order.
It's still in order.
Yes, in the middle of January, or maybe the end of January, it's still in order. Happy New Year, right?
Yes, I believe it is. Good morning to you. All right. Well, we have the punch.
Have you been following the argument on the man of the year? Who is not the man of the
I
year?
did see that. I don't know. Well, my interest, I really don't care about things like that. Well, it's not about me. Obviously, it's not about me. I'm just personally, I really don't care. I think this.
But do you have a man of the year?
I don't have a man. I don't have a man. The man of the year is the MD. Because he paid our salary. Those are the criteria I got to give, and he gave us small something too. So that's my own man of the year. Me, I'm oil and gas. I'm Oweku. So anybody that does nice things to me is my own man of the year. So I really, and I understand the arguments, right? I understand the argument. This day newspaper, for example, it was that the president was on their front page. The entire front page was about the president, and how, regardless of the fact that his policies might have caused a lot of discomfort, he's audacious. That's one word that they use. That he's very, very audacious, and he has made decisions that past leaders were afraid to make. Now, the argument on the other side is that audaciousness is not what necessarily makes you man of the year. Is the kind of impacts that you have on the people. These are the criteria that make you deserving of that particular title. But
so their own contribution is that, look, he was just so audacious.
Yeah.
About those decisions.
Yeah.
But I don't know really.
What do you think?
If they had considered the effect of that audacity.
Right.
If you understand what I'm saying, the level of the boldness for him to have gone into those reforms the way he did. So to what end actually, and what would have been the yardstick for them to have thought that, look, because of the bold reforms that other leaders have refused to take, which are people whoever they want to choose as their man of the year. I don't really want to go into that. But my own man of the year, I say, you have chosen the MD who through thick and thin,
right,
like all responsible fathers in the world, have despite the tough economic situation in the country. So again, it's a brilliant choice for me, but already takes up the role of a father who through 2024, despite the hardship, the excruciating poverty, were still able to do everything out of sacrifice, selflessness to provide for their family. See, and I know what I'm saying. Despite the depleted personal resources, who had to also sacrifice their own personal comfort just to be able to make sure that their family has something to eat. Every man in that category, or a woman that takes up that role, is my own man of the year 2024. I think I have the right to choose whoever I want to choose as my man of the year.
You not choose president for what they betrayed. You are not patriotic. You not choose president. You are very unpatriotic.
I choose the president. No, the DG has chosen him, so that should be enough now. Must I be this day? Or must I think like this day? Newspaper.
Yes.
They have their own wisdom. I have my own wisdom. They have their own yardstick. I have my own yardstick. They see what they want to see. I see what I want to see. Their reality may be different from my own reality. So who are they to tell me who's my man? That's their own choice, and I'm talking about my own choice here. And I think I have the right to my choice.
Okay. Well, I hate to dampen the mood, but I just want to highlight, the report on the Super Eagles goalkeeper Nwabali. Since we're talking about parents and their resilience and how well they've done in raising children. And Nwabali unfortunately lost his mother just 2 months after losing his dad. I believe his dad died in November of last year, and he was actually at a game. He was not even in the country when it happened. The news just broke to him whilst he was, after that game. And then 2 months later, his mom dies as well. Social media is awash with condolence messages to the goalkeeper, and this is something that I can relate to personally as well. I mean, the people that know me know that I had the same experience. I mean, mine was 4 months apart, and it was just ridiculous because at the point you're absolutely numb. You don't even know what to do with all of
4 months apart.
Yeah, 4 months apart. Yeah, my mom was in my dad was in October, my mom was in February of the next year, so it was just 4 months apart, and I was in school. What was I supposed that he has a community of people that actually cares for him, and hopefully his recovery process is faster. Hopefully. Would you like to comment on that?
Well, it's a sad one, really. A sad one to within that short period of time lose your father, and then just like that you lose your mother. And again, I saw the tweet by Nwabali.
Yeah.
He's very active on social media, and he said that look, the year has just turned out. These challenges will definitely come, and when it comes, we just have what can we do? Like they always say, you can't question God when these things happen. But again, we want to condole with Nwabali, who has been a fantastic addition to the Super Eagles since he's joined strength to be able to go on with his life.
Indeed, our heart definitely goes out to Super Eagles goalkeeper. We hope that God grants him the fortitude to bear this loss. Well, let's move on to other stories now. National issues. The Punch newspaper is what we're starting with, and we're talking about the refinery. Now, the headline reads, New refineries, NNPCL may cut crude supply to Dangote plant. That is the headline. So the body of the story, we have the federal government may cut its crude oil supply to the Dangote petroleum refinery, reducing it from the current allocation of 300,000 barrels per day, except there is a surge in Nigeria's oil output, the Punch gathered on Wednesday. Now, this reduction is expected to take place as part of adjustment under the government's Naira for Crude initiative, following the coming upstream of the Warri and Port Harcourt refineries. Now, both refineries currently operate at a combined capacity of 135,000 barrels per day, and the plants managed by the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited commenced operation recently after years of neglect by successive government preferring fuel imports. So, originally there was a program, of course, the Naira for Crude program that was supposed to run for 6 months, the pilot, starting with Dangote. Now, Dangote originally, or 445,000 barrels per day, was supposed to be set aside for domestic refining. And as at the time, Dangote refinery was the only functional refinery. And so he got 300,000 barrels. But now that we have the Port Harcourt refinery coming upstream, well, it's already upstream, and then we also have the Warri, and then we have Kaduna coming up, reports here indicate that they might have to cut how much supply they are giving to Dangote so that they're able to share what they have with all the refineries. So that 445,000 barrels per day would have to be shared equally by all our local refineries. And so there are concerns that Dangote might have to revert to importing the commodity unless we're able to up our crude oil production. Thoughts, Ford?
Well, Sage, I think we first have to establish the fact that this report is coming from unnamed sources.
Yes.
So it's just very important that, so that there's nothing affirmative about it. It's almost like a speculative report. Even though, the reality of the report shows some facts and can actually direct our mind to begin to think about some of the issues that have been raised in the report stage. Like it has been rightly put in the report, we're supposed to have reserves for local refineries, 445,000 barrels of crude oil per day, which is actually the capacity of our 4 local refineries, government-owned refineries. The Port Harcourt-owned and new refinery, which is supposed to be 210, and then Warri refinery, I think about 75,000, and then the Kaduna refinery, I think about 60,000 barrels per day. So the idea then was that, look, no matter the amount of crude we produce daily, that amount of crude should be reserved for our local refineries. And like you also was able to, of course, pick out from the report, since it was only the Dangote refinery that was functional at the time, we started this crude naira for crude deal.
Yeah.
So according to Dangote refinery, actually, the agreement under the naira for crude deal was that he was going to be getting about 395,000 barrels of crude oil daily, but he was able to only get 300,000 barrels. Getting the 300,000 barrels per day was still, I think, importing crude, to take care of the shortfall. Because again, if you have a capacity that is double what you're getting, probably have to look elsewhere to make up for whatever shortfall you have. So, but the issue here is this, and I think it's very important, that we pay attention to this report, even though most of the things that have been highlighted here are from unnamed sources. This is the issue, Sage. And I have to speak with an oil and gas expert who has told me that, look, shouldn't we ask ourselves, why is it that suddenly our refineries have started to work? As we speak, the report we're getting, and it's even in this report, is that the new Port Harcourt refinery would also start to work anytime from now. It's very close. The announcement is going to come anytime from now. In fact, the Kaduna refinery, from the reports we are getting, is also going to come upstream anytime from now. And so what the oil and gas expert told me was that, look, the reason why suddenly people who refused to run their own refineries for almost 2 decades are suddenly found. I'm going to go into, each details of this report for you. And what he said was that, look, these were guys who were so comfortable with importation of refined petroleum products because it was easy for them, to freeze on the resources of the nation. It allowed for corruption. It allowed for manipulation. The era of subsidy, gave all manner of opportunity for them, to freeze on the resources of Nigerians. It was an extremely corrupt subsidy regime run because we were solely dependent on importation of refined petroleum products. So I think one of the kudos we have to give to the Muhammadu Buhari administration was its facilitation of the building of the Dangote refinery. Whether we like it or not, even Dangote himself said it. He got a lot of support, to ensure that refinery was built. Now you could see that when Dangote even came upstream, started working, you could see the fight back from these people. Oh, he was not ready for production. He wanted a monopoly. You cannot stop importing. I don't know whether you follow me.
I am following you.
And I think what they now know is that, look, importation cannot be. So let's get our own refineries to work. And you could see that suddenly those refineries have, a new lease of life. They are now working. So whether we like it or not, we now have to ask our own the question. This is the question: should we now also ensure that no matter what happens with the coming on stream of all these 4 national refineries, we also ensure that we protect the Dangote refinery that has led them to do the right thing after so many years? I don't know whether you follow me.
I do.
That if it was indeed, from the expert analysis we've got it, that it was the Dangote refinery that forced them to suddenly down to fix their own refinery, should we now also ensure that, look, they don't do anything to affect the continuous running of the Dangote refinery? And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. I kept asking the question, when are we going to put a complete end to the importation of refined petroleum products? Number 2, we have to do whatever we need to do. Now the government is claiming, that they are now able to do about 1.8 million barrels per day, right?
Yes.
That, look, they are now able to do about 1.8 million barrels per day. So should that affect the supply of that, even if you just have 300,000 barrels per day to Dangote refinery. I don't think it should affect it.
I mean,
because look, Dangote. Yes, I'm with you.
I apologize for interrupting you, but 1.8 million, you do realize that from that amount, we still have to take care of our crude back loans obligation.
I'm coming there. I'm going to get there.
Okay.
Stage. That's why it's important that we focus on this thing. Okay. Yes, I'm coming there.
Okay.
I saw that even in the report. And it's also important that we highlight it. But what I'm saying is that, look, if we are claiming now that we are now pushing 1.8 billion barrels per day, and that we're actually pushing for about 2.2 or 2 million barrels in 2025, if Dangote is going to be getting 300,000 barrels per day under the Naira for crude deal, and we eventually raise the capacity of our 4 refineries to the point where, we can now begin to supply them that 445,000. Even if our 4 national refineries come to life now, we can still accommodate the Dangote refinery. Because strategically, the Dangote refinery will keep the NNPC on their toes and these refineries. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It will keep them on their toes. So far, the Dangote refinery continues to run. But if we get to the point where Dangote now relies solely on importation of refined crude oil, then there's going to be a problem for us. Because I know that the business model for the Dangote refinery will become unsustainable if it solely relies on importation of crude oil. Because again, for some of the experts, some of the designs of the refinery, even the designs of the refinery, is particularly for our own crude, the light crude, the so-called sweet crude, if you understand what I'm saying. So, what I'm saying is that as a matter of national interest, we must ensure that, look, the Dangote refinery continues to run. And I think that whatever the presidency needs to do to continue to support the running of that refinery, it must do. Because my mind tells me that these people are regrouping again. I will not name people, but people know the people I'm talking about. The enemies of the nation who have refused to make our refineries work for over 2 decades are not going to give up easily. The Midian drain has started somehow, and that's what this report is trying to highlight, and it's pointing our attention to. Another problem we have, is that while we are still dealing with about close to $6 billion syndicated crude oil backed loans, the report is telling us again that the NNPC is looking at borrowing another $2 billion in a crude oil backed loan. And that will push everything to about $8 billion that we borrowed in 4 years. It is not that we are borrowing the money. We are borrowing the money to pay back with what? Crude oil. Can you now see that there is a problem somewhere? Because in 4 years, what it means is that if they get this $2 billion, which they are already pushing for, the entire thing they've gotten under the crude, what's it called? The crude oil back loan deal will be about $8 billion in 4 years. And so that's going to be a problem to see. So it means that if we now start to repay more, we have to pay more with crude oil. There's no problem with supplying our local refineries to the agenda for us to look again critically at the oil sector. So that the more we look, we are able to probe the intentions of these people. We are able to probe what they intend to achieve in the short and long term for the nation when it comes to running of the Nigerian oil sector. So as it is, what I'm saying is that, look, borrow beg or steal is the reason why these guys are not doing the right thing.
All right then. Well, find details of that particular story on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. If you're just catching the program, we just really started the review. This is Trends in the Papers on mainland 98.3 FM. We're looking at the Punch newspaper. Soon we'll segue to the Guardian and Vanguard, but for now we're still on the front page of the Punch newspaper and we're reviewing the stories that have made it to the front page. My name is Sage Babalola. I'm here talking to Fuad Side. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube where we're streaming live. Mainland 98.3 FM is how you find us, and you can actually start interacting with the stories in real time if you're live on our Facebook and YouTube platform. We're moving on to other stories here. Still speaking of national issues, page 22 tells us that Naira defies CBN's forex reform, tumbled 41% in 2024. Now, the official exchange rate between the naira and the United States dollar ended in 2024 at 1,535 naira to a dollar. An analysis of data from the Central Bank of Nigeria has shown this was a 40.9% depreciation over the year when compared to the official rate at the close of 2023, which stood at about 907.11 naira to a dollar. Now, the significant depreciation comes amid the CBN's introduction of several foreign exchange policies, included the unification of the forex windows under the Nigeria foreign exchange market, the introduction of the Nigeria FX Code, which mandated ethical conduct and governance among market participants. On the parallel market, where the naira trades unofficially, the currency exchanged at 1,660 naira to a dollar at the end of 2024. For this report is basically telling us the many trials and travels of our currency against the dollar and how it was toppled mercilessly, 41% in 2024, despite all of the many techniques that was employed by the CBN to try to at least give the naira some weight. Unfortunately, we tumbled 41% against the US dollars, and so far so good. There are no indications that any of the things that we do right now would assist the naira in gaining some sort of fit. What do you think about this?
Well, I'm sure the argument would be that without those interventions of the CBN, maybe we would have stumbled more than 100%.
Right.
But whether it is 41 or 100%, it's still bad. And the result is bad. That's a fact. But I know that there are people that argue that, if not for those interventions and those ideas, maybe we would have been talking about maybe 3,000 naira to a dollar. You understand?
Yes.
But we need to ask ourselves, or probably they'll say, it's because the CBN is not doing the artificial the way we've done it. We're now seeing the reality of the foreign exchange situation of the country and blah, 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 all of that. I understand all of those economic permutations and analysis. But it's a simple thing, say. You don't need to be an economist to understand the basic principles of balance of trade. And now nations of the world are able to firm up their local currency against the dollar. And basically it's about what? Your level of production. What are you producing? How are you earning forex? What are the things you're doing to earn forex? See, it's not by all of those little interventions, monetary policies here and there. The most important thing you need to ask yourself as a nation is this: what are the things that you're doing to earn foreign exchange? So if you are not earning and you are spending, you are going to run into trouble. So at the end of the day, it's about what you get and what you give out. So if you are a nation with all of the economic indices and look at the sectors that can earn us good forex, one of them that we are supposed to have leveraged on, say, is the oil sector. We are able to earn enough foreign exchange. Look at our situation now, say. We just reviewed it. We've been borrowing money to create liquidity in the sector. Foreign exchange liquidity locally. If you remember, say.
Yes.
And I think within a month or two, the whole thing was mopped up. Because that was the time we saw some level of some buyers and drop in the value of the dollar against the naira. So it's as simple as, look, if you don't earn foreign exchange, and how do you earn foreign exchange? You're going to ask yourself, what are the things that is giving us foreign exchange? What are the things, how do we earn dollars into this country? Apart from oil and gas, which other sectors? The agricultural sector that is also supposed to be a big opportunity for us because of the vast arable land we have. It's almost non-existent. We are not even able to support our farmers to produce enough. We can't store enough to the point where it is globally accepted. I remember that was the time I think we produced yam, and it was rejected because it didn't meet up the global standard.
Yeah.
So agriculture, we are not doing enough. The extractive industry, the solid mineral resources, mining, what are we doing with it? Currently as it is, it's about illegal mining. We are not even able to organize our sector enough, reform it enough to the point where we are able to earn foreign exchange from it. And then the manufacturing sector, and so many other sectors too that could have earned us good foreign exchange to strengthen. So it's not going to be through this cosmetic approach or intervention. We just have to buckle our shoes, roll up our sleeves, do the hard work, and get one discipline. Get one discipline. I think there was a time, I think under the Buhari government, that we started this campaign of buy Nigeria. That we should buy Nigeria. Whereas the people that started the campaign were busy flying around the world, shopping in some of the most expensive shops all over the world, putting unnecessary pressure on foreign exchange. And then we also have to reform the below the change sector, how we sell dollars. All over the world, the few countries have gone to say there's no boju about buying dollars. Once you get into the country from the airport, you see the official rates, right? And there are no multiple rates like we have in Nigeria, though we've tried to a great extent to unify our rates. When you go into those countries from the airport, you can buy dollars. It's not secret. It's not that one person is hiding somewhere and putting dollars in their pocket. So the racketeering also has to stop. And I can tell you that it is not ordinary Nigerians, poor small Nigerians, that are making a mess of the foreign exchange in terms of racketeering. It is the big monsters in the room. Our politicians, their friends and cronies, who mop up the foreign exchange for racketeering purposes. So we also have to fix that. So it's a holistic thing, and I think there's still more work to be done, really. If we want us to strengthen the naira against the dollar, say in the 70s, people told us that the naira was even stronger than the dollar. Can we go back to that era? Can we ever get back to that era?
I believe so, if we do the right things. It won't be immediate, but if we start doing the right things, like you said, 12 months, let's experiment and see what happens then. It's on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Now, we have this particular report here. Tinubu's tax reform will destroy Nigeria's unity. This is according to Kano State Governor. Now, the Governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, on Wednesday declared his opposition to President Bola Tinubu's tax reforms, asserting that it is inimical to the unity of the country. Now, Yusuf, represented by his deputy Aminu Gwazo, declared the government's position during the 2025 celebration held at the Phili Mahama Kofar Naisa Open Theatre. The deputy governor's chief press secretary, Ibrahim Shuaibu, revealed the development in a statement on Wednesday. He says, and I quote in part, "The tax reform bill is not the solution to our economic challenges. Kano State stands firmly against any policy, that negatively affects the welfare of our people." The deputy governor was quoted to have said, I'm reading again another quote, Nigerians in general and the North in particular are groaning under hyperinflation and unprecedented insecurity. Therefore, the president should rather concentrate its time and attention to tackle the extreme poverty and hunger, especially in the northern part of the country. So, Fuad, the Kano State governor joins the long list of northern leaders and stakeholders who are very strongly opposed to the tax reform bills. The governor of Bauchi State, now his name eludes me. I don't know why. I can't remember. Yes, he goes on to say that, well, if you don't reverse this policy, the North will do his worst. A statement that the presidency has responded to and have asked him to retract. Well, the governor of Kano State is saying that this will be very, very dangerous and it would affect or destroy Nigeria's unity. Fuad, I wonder, in what ways do you believe that the refusal of the presidency to reverse this tax reform bills would seriously cause some sort of security uproar, especially in the northern part of the region? And do you think that it would be adverse enough to spiral even to other regions of the country?
Honestly, that's a question that the northern leaders have still not been able to. A very brilliant question, see. Because that's what they've been saying, that's the rhetoric. Consistently from the northern leaders, the northern governors who have been bold enough. You know, some of them also share the same view, but they are not bold enough to come out and talk the way the Bauchi governor Bala Mohammed and Abba Yusuf have said it. I think the other bold governor that also came out to talk about the sentiments of the North against this particular tax reforms bill is the governor of Borno State, Professor Zulu. You know, but I think some of the governors, you know, they just, it's just like when I don't want to offend the president. But the problem I have with the northern leaders who have voiced their displeasure, who are calling for the withdrawal of the bill from the National Assembly, is that, look, they have still not been able to articulate their fears properly. Other than the fact that, it's going to affect the North, it's going to be, it's anti-North, it's going to lead to rent week. And how does that part of the bill affect the North?
I'm sorry, but there was a part that they highlighted, the sharing formula.
Let's have it.
The sharing formula of fact, because the reform, or one part of that reform, is basically you get what you give. Yeah. Exactly, you get what you give. So the northern leaders are arguing that the North currently is unable to really generate anything as a result of the insecurity that is going on there. So they won't get much.
Okay, so what they should have said is that all states sit up.
Yeah.
They're able to drive further progress in their different states, so that they also can generate more and get more. So we are basically a farming community. Most of our communities are farmers. And most of the agricultural produce doesn't even fall under VAT. You understand?
Yeah.
So what I think they would have said is that, look, the bill is okay, but the timing is wrong.
Okay.
And I'm just saying that, us get to the point where this thing is implementable, not at this time. So that's why I'm saying that, look, if we probe their concerns further and they're able to articulate these concerns more properly, they can begin to raise political and ethnic sentiment. Maybe Nigerians will now begin to understand why the North is questioning this tax reforms bill. It might just be about the timing. And with the timing, you come with proper explanation, let people understand your fears and concerns. And I keep telling the people who now think, it's a North and South thing, because I've already seen that pattern. You will see some people say, in the North, it's not only about beer. I see people who are saying, if you don't do beer, you will come up with. That affects a region of the country would also be problematic to us too. Even security first in the North, I'm sorry, you in the South cannot sit with your two eyes closed. It's just what it is. The so-called insecurity we have in the North today that are affecting food production, can't you see the effect here in the South? So that's why I'm saying that, look, I also would have thought that, look, there should be more engagement, more understanding. We can reform and to reform. We can disagree to agree. So, but it is wrong for anybody to grandstand, whether you are pro-tax reforms bill or anti-tax reforms bill. The grandstanding will not help any of us. So whether the president feels that, look, this is the right thing for the nation, while the other feel it's not the right thing, we can still sit on the table, discuss, have an understanding, and then get the reforms bill, properly sorted out for nation building.
So your argument basically is that the northern leaders can oppose as long as they tell us the economic impact, or emphasize on the economic impact, rather than make
proper communication,
rather than make insecurity the axis of their argument.
Just communicate properly. Just let people understand your fears. Back it with facts.
Right, because
and then we can have that conversation.
They're all saying it will divide us, it will cause problems, it will cause this, the North will do
While
this.
their own rhetoric is bad, I also think the posture of the president and the leadership of the National Assembly is also bad.
Yeah,
it has come to stay. Right. Nothing can change it.
No deliberation.
If you like, that one not also wrong.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you, yes.
They are not communicating properly. These also got leaders in the North. They are not putting out their information out properly. But I also think that the president, enabled by the Senate president, who is also supposed to allow for everybody to come up and put up their opinion on this issue, it's also wrong. The grandstanding from the leadership of the National Assembly and the presidency for me on this tax reform bill is also wrong.
All right. Let's wait and see. The Senate have actually said that the tax reform bill is going to be one of the primary focus for when they reconvene. And that has considerations for the budget. So let's see what deliberations will come out of that one once they reconvene for the year. You find this on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. Speeding up now, Lakurawa, Nigeria, Niger, joint operations to continue amid diplomatic row. So we do have the report here that the Defense Headquarters has reaffirmed its commitment to conducting joint operations and patrols with Nigerian troops, despite the allegations leveled against Nigeria by Niger's military leader, General Abdurrahmani Tchiani. The Punch lens is part of the federal government's efforts to end the activities of terrorist groups like Lakurawa in the northwest and others in part of border state between Nigeria and Niger. Well, following all the information that we've gotten, a couple of days, was it weeks ago or days ago now, we have Tchiani of Niger accusing Nigeria of joint forces with French troops to overthrow, or should I say undermine, his authority in Niger. Of course, an accusation that have been denied by the presidency or the Nigerian government. And despite all of this, despite all of the allegations, the report is telling us that Nigeria is still insisting on working very closely with Nigerian authorities to see the abolishment of this Lakurawa terrorist group.
Well, it's nice to hear that we are still sustaining the joint operation.
Right.
It's just nice to hear, because when it comes to insecurity in the Maghreb region down to the Sahel Savannah, you can't exist in isolation. It's just what it is, whether we like it or not. And not even with a country that we have 7 states in Nigeria bordering it.
Yeah.
And very porous borders too. See, extremely porous borders. So if you have a country like Niger, where we have 7 states in the north sharing borders with it, you should know that when it comes to our own internal security, we also have to have that good cooperation, working relationship with that particular country. We might have our issues with the military takeover in the country, but that should not end all the diplomatic relations with the country, especially when it comes to the issue of insecurity, joint border patrols. Information sharing is also key. Shared information, very, very shared information and intelligence is also key. Because look, what we've seen consistently again with the insecurity in the north is that you also have an infiltration of people all the way from Libya, right? Burkina Faso, Mali, there's the ISIS of West Africa, ISWAP. So when you have people like that who are able to move in between countries, it's just important that Nigeria also has some form of working relationship with the government of those countries to ensure that there's shared information and shared intelligence. So I like the fact that look, we are still sustaining these joint operations, and whatever the issues are, it's just very important that we still are able to sort it out. We cannot secure ourselves by ourselves alone. We need the other these countries to also share information and intelligence with us.
All right. Well, like you said, very, very laudable that despite the allegation, we're still choosing to work with Niger to eradicate this terrorist group. It's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. You're still on to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. Moving forward, Shettima, governor's wives welcome New Year babies. I think I'll calculate when I'll give birth. January 2026. So I can collect government money for giving birth.
And now you just do 9 months.
Yeah.
You did
I'll
months.
I'll just calculate it. So
it's good though. This is what you're planning.
So I'll collect government just so I can collect government.
But you also calculate the hours so that you be the first.
Yes, sir. It's competition.
And that is possible.
First to push. So it's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. And then we also have this very sad story here. 133 women, girls killed in 2024 gender-related violence reports. This is a very long read, and we might exhaust all the time that we have left if I start to pick out one after the other, the month-to-month data on women that have died as a result of gender-based violence. The youngest to have been a victim of this, according to this report, is a 3-year-old who was declared missing but later found dead to have been killed allegedly by one of her teachers, and this is across many states in the country. So far so good for the year 2024. At least 133 women and girls have been killed as a result of gender related violence. Well, this is very sad because it's not just here. I think in South Africa last year there was a campaign, a femicide campaign, because men were allegedly killing women. It was like a badge of honor for them. They killed women, and some people even made it public. They recorded the act and post it on the dark web, homicide, and we're seeing that in Nigeria.
I think the other country that has women rape women to death, sometimes there are no consequences, and I think in India there's also this honor killing that happens.
Yeah, if you get raped, you get killed.
No, they will kill themselves because of the societal stereotype, the shame that comes with it.
What?
So the men who do the things are not held accountable. The woman is left in double jeopardy to the point where they are also, forced to take their own lives. In fact, what happens is that the family will take them away. They don't want to have anything to do with them.
I'm telling you that fathers and brothers in some culture in India actually kill these girls and go and announce to the village that the scourge has been eradicated, the shame has been cleansed from the family. Their cultures like that. I'll send you a link. So I'll send you a link so you can read it. The family kills the girl because she's considered a stain on the family. So because she's a shame. That's the only way they can purge themselves of the so-called shame. Nothing is hardly ever done to the man, the perpetrator in question. Some are very silent about it because they do deeper research, and the things that I saw were really, really scary. We have a long way to go for a very, very long.
The culture of silence and victim blaming too. You have parents who say no, they don't want any problem. They just hide it.
Nobody will marry you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Nobody will marry you.
So if you talk now, the whole community says you have been violated, so they just hide it. And then the culprits who live in the same community, the sad part is that the girl that be violated will see the person walking free.
Or they force you to marry the person that violated you. That's also another way.
Another one. There are also cultures like that. You don't marry the person.
You have to marry the person by force. You don't have a choice. It's very, very sad.
So I think the global campaign against femicide, violation of women, protection of girls' rights has to be more intense. It's just something that has to continue because it's a scourge. And for a father like myself who has a girl child, it's just scary to see that these things happen in the dark world where people kill ladies, post it, and are even celebrated for doing it.
Oh, they are. They are. It's very, very sad on the dark web. Well, that's on page 4 and 5 if you'd like to read that. We have here 9 banks rake in 4.85 trillion interest income. 9 Nigerian banks collectively earned 4.85 trillion in interest income on loans and advances to customers in the first 9 months of 2024, marking a growth of 114.95% compared to the 2.26 trillion recorded in the same period of 2023. For there have been conversations around the fact that interest on loan of the money that he actually that's why banks are always declaring profit every single time, because people have to pay the interest on the loans, and they made quite a lot of money, about 4.8 trillion naira, 9 banks in total, and on just loan charges. The loan has not been repaid. These are the loan charges. Yeah,
more like debt services.
Yeah, like I don't want to say anything because I was a bit patriotic. Let me read the headlines that we have on the front page of the other newspapers. All right. The Guardian tells us PDP, Obi, Atiku set agenda for Tinubu, better Nigeria in 2025. Just basically recommendations of the ways to rectify all the anomalies within the country. We have political offices is an editorial between zoning formula and competence. What should we do? Should we consider zones? Okay, this zone has never been president before, or our consideration should be, can this individual perform irrespective of what part of the country they come from? You should read it if you're interested. We have tax bills, not Central Council backs Bauchi governor, urges Tinubu to address concern. Police snap 230 robbery kidnap suspects, secure 128 convictions from 388 cases. Juvenile trials, enforcing justice rehabilitation via reformative process. Is a lot of news analysis on the front page of The Guardian today. We also have here teenage pregnancy, the worrying indicators. ASU wants welfare of teachers on Tinubu's priority list, is on page 7. And then finally, federal government raises 14.8 trillion naira from non-oil taxes in 11 months. Maybe when we come back for mainland focus, we can actually look at this. They were able to raise 14.8 trillion from non-oil taxes in 11 months. I'd like to see what sector they were able to raise that from. But when we come back, we'd actually look at that because we have less than a minute. For Vanguard newspaper, we have the top story here. Economy. Hardship deals huge blow to physical, mental wellness. What people are already having going as a result of deep sigh. Anyways,
the things you do before and say sorry, and everything is resolved.
Everybody just give you blow in your neck.
Everybody just angry.
We have here also some people are blackmailing Tinubu over tax bills, says presidency. I think Dana Buhala is
the anti-tax bill people are not putting out their blackmail there.
I don't know.
Instead of addressing the concerns, addressing the issues, putting what the governors are saying in the north is inciting, I think Bala Mohammed particularly. Yeah. And I know that if you are not careful now, they will take the conversation to the point of treason. They can now even say that it's treasonable felony to go and get the tax reform bill. You will see. Just note what I just said. That at some point in this conversation, somebody in the presidency will issue a statement to say that, look, it is treasonable to go and get the tax reform bill. You will see.
Well, let's wait and see. Nothing is impossible in this part of the world. Let's go on a break. All right, we have commercials lined up. We'll be back at 8:40 for Mainland Focus. It's Open Mic Thursday, so you get to be the one to decide the story that you think is most important to you. Thank you very much, Fuad. Please be on standby.
Thank you
We'll be with you soon. All right, then. Mainland